something about this aux issue. Okay, so
Okay.
perfect. It is now being recorded. Let me also, yeah. So let's go back to our files, and you can see that like this is exactly where we left. We added a lot of code but commented it out. So we're just gonna go through what like all of that does. There's no new concepts in HTML and CSS being discussed today, apart from like maybe one. Uh, I think there's one value for position which we might go through, and box shadow. So those are the only two CSS additions that we might do, but nothing in the CSS and HTML part which we can add, like nothing too new.
Yeah.
And we have commented all of this out, so we're just going to discuss what all of this, how all of this creates what you're going to see on the right. And if you see some stuff which we haven't discussed yet in this code as well, because there's some JavaScript calling and stuff, do not get confused. Just look over it right now. Just look at the classes, the IDs, and the hrefs and the attributes you're familiar with. So we'll discuss the other ones in a short while. So let's just reload this again. You can see that it appears exactly like where we left it. And let's uncomment it now, Ishit.
Yeah.
So not sure if I commented out the styling. I did not. So let's discuss like. So should I comment out the styling first?
Yeah, I think you should. We'll just uncomment it later.
All right, fine. So I'm gonna comment out the styling. There's some issue. But what?
Yeah.
Perfect. Now if I reload it, so you can see that this is the part that was added. Fair. Now Ishil, you want to discuss this?
Yeah, sure. So I think right. So we started from line 25. Now just by looking at it, you'll recognize most of the things. So we added a div with the ID content to it. There are two tags inside of it. One is called aside and one is another div tag. Now aside is nothing different than a div. The predefined styling and everything is exactly similar, just that it's given a unique name so as to present your HTML better.
So yeah, let's talk about the semantic tags later. But what you need to basically understand is the aside is exactly the same as a div with respect
Yeah,
to what's being
exactly.
displayed on the screen.
Exactly. So inside the aside, we have three anchor tags with the class name of a menu link, and each of them have a different class tag also, which we'll discuss in some time. Right. So then comes the href. All three have been given an href of hashtag, which basically means that when you click on the anchor tag, it will just reroute to the same page. Right. So next is the on click. Now don't worry about the on click for now. This is for calling the JavaScript. So we'll be explaining this when we come to the JavaScript. So just ignore the on click for now. And after that, we just have given the names to these three anchor tags: top stories, new stories, and best stories. All right. So next is the division, which for the ID news list, and there are again two children to it. The first is a header tag for headlines, and the next is another division with the ID top stories container. In the top stories container, we have an anchor tag with a class news item. For now, the href is given as google.com, but later we'll be dynamically adding the href to take us to the web page of the news article. So the next attribute in the anchor tag is target, right? And here we've given a target of blank. This basically means that when you click on the anchor tag, instead of taking you to the website on the same page, the browser will open a new tab for the web page, right? So right now, if it's google.com, then if I click on the anchor tag, it won't open google.com on the same page. Instead, it will open a new tab and open google.com on that. And then there is an attribute called data title, which which is basically a custom attribute you can add, and we've given it a name of article title. This isn't used for much, but we're going to be using this in JavaScript to basically identify a particular anchor tag for the article. And inside the anchor tag, there are basic stuff that you'll obviously know. There is a heading tag for the article title, three paragraph tags for the byline, the time, the score, and an icon for a thumbs up.
So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
the
that's
same
about
icon
it.
from Font Awesome that you can see over here.
Yeah.
So it's been given a green color right now. So let's add this styling. And so first of all, any questions on the HTML? Like everybody, like I don't think you would have any questions like understanding the hierarchy and everything. So if everybody is fine at this point, we'll move on to the CSS. In the CSS as well, there aren't going to be any new concepts. You're just gonna have to connect the HTML with the CSS that we explained.
Yeah, exactly. So if anyone has any doubts in the HTML part, please tell now. Right. So I don't think anyone has any doubts. So yeah, we
So we'll
can.
move forward.
Yeah. So Anand, do you want to explain this?
Yeah, so there's a lot to go through over here because we this is just like detailing. So when we are doing
Exactly.
detailing, we are actually like doing like focusing on a lot of small stuff, obviously. So let's go through it all. When we include all of the styling, this is what it starts to look like. So if I comment it all out again and if I just compare the two different tabs, so this is what it looks like without the styling, this part, and this is what it looks like with the styling. So now we are gonna go with the styling. Right. So a few things first. So content, it has a display of flex. Anybody not remember what a flex does? So I think everybody should be familiar with display flex now. The aside, we have given a flex of 2. That's why you can see that it takes a particular ratio all the time. So if we increase the width or if we decrease the width, it takes the ratio of the screen width. So that is the aside. It has a padding of 10. So you can see that the text isn't touching the top and the bottom. The right and the left, it would not have been touching anyway because it is centered. But still, like there's a padding of 10. So you can also see that the A tags themselves are not actually reaching the horizontal ends either. So this is where the padding comes. So it's a bit offsetted against where the DSC text is starting. So that is equal to 10 pixels, the offset over there. And then inside of the aside, we have the A tag, A tags. These A tags are display block, padding. We have given them paddings. Text decoration, none, because if I remove this, so if we haven't discussed this before, let's. So they have an underline. So we also have given a color over there. That's why they're not blue. But if we did not have color and text decoration none, they would have been appearing to be blue and underlined. That's why we have text decoration none. Margin of 10. So they have spacing between them. So there's the margin over there. So this is the if like just to recap, this is the vertical dimension and this is the horizontal dimension. So vertical padding was 5 pixel and horizontal padding is 10 pixels, even though it is a center, so it won't matter. In the margin, the vertical margin is 10 pixels and the horizontal margin is 0. So border radius 15 pixels. That's why it's a bit rounded, as you can see. Then we have the font weight 500, little bit thicker than regular. So if I make this 800 quickly, you can see that it is proper bold. We did not want it to appear that bold. That's why we came to 500. So if I also show you guys 400, you'd see it's like it's regular, but it's a menu item, so we chose 500 over here. Right, so it appears just the right amount of thickness. Appears to be. Text align center, that is what is centering the text in the A tag. And color, like that's just the color. So color RGBA. So I don't think we have discussed RGBA before. RGBA, but a lot of you might get an idea from like what the acronym is. So red, green, blue, and alpha. So most of you would be familiar with RGB. Alpha is just the opacity. So the RGB values can vary from 0 to 255. So if I make this 255 0 0 0.7, so you can see it became red with an opacity of 0.7 or 70%. If
Yeah.
I make this 255 as well, so that color now became yellowish. So it's just missing the blue color. If I add blue, that will become white. And if I remove this, it will become bit purple, I believe. Yeah. So red plus blue is purple. Even in Java, you can actually use RGBA, at least in Android. I think that's there as well. So 000
Yeah.
says black and 0.7 says 70% of opacity.
Yeah,
How does the
and
text
the
get?
alpha value varies between 0 and 1.
So Aryan, we're coming right to that now because this is the next selector is what is making that happen. So let me just split this into two lines. So first of all, you can see that there's a comma over here. The comma says that the styling inside of this block over here is going to be applied to two different selectors. Now, the first selector is on the left, obviously, of the comma, and the second after the comma. So the first is we selecting content. Inside of the content, we selecting the asides. There's only one aside. So inside of the aside, we're selecting the A tags. And this is what we call a pseudo class. So the hover pseudo class allows us to give the values which will only become active when you are hovering over an element. Fine. So when I hover over it, these values become active. Color black and a background color of very light black. So with an opacity of 5%. 5% black. That's what the background becomes. And the text becomes completely black. Totally opaque. So that is hover. And we have also given the same styling to content aside a dot selected. So a tags, anchor tags with the class selected. That's for these values. So when we select, so if I show you on the actual web page, if I select this, so what I'm doing is when I'm choosing a different category, I'm adding the selected class over here. Uh, okay, so Ishad, you want to go ahead now?
Yeah, sure. So we covered the hover tag, hover pseudo selector basically, which uh, which activates the styling when you hover over an element, right? So next is basically we the styling for the news list division. We gave it a flex value of 5, right? So as you can see on the web browser, the aside content takes a ratio of 2 by 7 and the news content is taking a ratio of 5 by 7. All right, so inside the news list, we have the top stories container inside of which there is an anchor tag with the class name of news item. Now, these are obviously basic styling that we've given. The text decoration is none to remove the underlining. The display is given to be block. The border is given to be 1 pixel solid, and the color is given to be RGB of black with an opacity of 0.14. So then the border radius is given to be 10 pixels. The margin value is given to be 2 rem and 0. So 2 rem is the vertical margin and 0 is the horizontal margin. The
Have
padding
we talked
is
about
given.
RAM yet?
Oh, row. Right. So we haven't talked about rem yet. So what exactly is rem? So till now we've been using the values pixels, right? Now what you might notice is that this pixel value will differ from browser to browser and different screen sizes, right? Now, what RAM does is it's a relative unit basically to your screen size. Now, by default, on our browsers, the one RAM is equal to 16 pixels. So, assigning two RAMs here means that I'm giving it a margin of 32 pixels. Now, this is useful if you're making a website that should be accessible by mobile phones also, because as this is a relative unit, it will be relative to the screen size. All right. The next thing is padding, which is given 5% to all the four sides. And I'll come back to transition in a second. The last thing is color, which is obviously black. So you can see the article title, the author, and the byline is black. Right. So coming back to transition, uh, in the like Anant explained about the hover pseudo selector, that the styling gets activated when we hover over an element. You might notice that when we hover over any of the anchor tags in the aside section, the styling gets snapped. So like basically there is no smooth animation between them. Right. So let me just, Anand, can you hover over the article title?
Yeah.
Right. So you might be seeing that on hover, we have given it a box shadow. Right. Now, if I comment out the transition, you might notice that the box shadow gets applied immediately without any smoothness. So what transition does is basically what the name says. It is a transition from one state to another. Right. So what is the default state of the news item? No box shadow. And on hover, it gets a box shadow. Now transition allows us to apply that styling in a time frame of zero point 0.6 seconds. So the first value here is the styling attribute that we want to select, which is basically box shadow. Now we've given it a value of all so that it will select all the stylings. Like if I have box shadow here, I can also give it a color or a background color or whatever styling I want to give. And the
Let's
next
give it a
value, yeah,
padding just to like show.
right. So Anand is giving now it a padding of 100 pixels on hover. So when you hover over the
So
article title, it will get a padding of 100 pixels from
so
all sides.
just a bit more specific. So you can see that the padding by default in all directions is 5%. I'm taking it from 5% to 100 pixels in downward direction particularly. So yeah, you can see that it basically got extended because it had to add some more padding, which wasn't by default there. Can we change the angle of shadow? Yes,
Yeah.
we can.
So
So
I'm
yeah,
not sure
go
if
ahead.
we've talked about the box shadow before.
We
We just
haven't.
do
Yeah.
it anyways. So here we're giving four values. The last value you can obviously guess that it will be the color of the box shadow. You can even give it red, blue, anything. Now the first value is called the X offset of the shadow, right? Then the next value is called the Y offset, and the third value is called the blur radius. Now, right now
And we
the
can add
X
another
and Y
one.
offset, yeah.
So
See,
let's just go crazy with this. Just a sec.
yeah. So the fourth value is actually the spread radius, right? So let me talk about the first two values first, the X and the Y offset. Right now we've given it zero to both offsets. Now imagine if I give it in an X offset of say 20 pixels, right? Now you will notice that the box shadow will appear 20 pixels to the right. Similarly, we can give it an Y offset of another
Let's give it a
20
minus y
pixels.
offset. Offset.
Yeah, sure. So this time I'll give a minus 20 pixels. So you'll see instead of going 20 pixels downwards, the box shadow will appear 20 pixels upwards. Right. So this is a very useful feature when you're making reactive sites. Right.
So yeah, that's
So
how you adjust the angle. We just keep it 0, 0 to keep it centered.
right. The next thing
Let's
is the
move on to
blur
the other ones.
radius. Yeah. So let's keep it 20 only so that the other two properties are
Okay,
displayed
okay.
properly. Yeah.
Sure.
Right. So just to display the blur radius, I'm going to make it 0 first. And if you can see there, right? So you can see it's not exactly a shadow, it's like a background color, and it's pretty solid, right? So that determines how much, by what value is the background blurred. So we had given it a value of 7 pixels, so it is blurred by 7 pixels. Now you can see it's a better quality for a shadow, right?
And what I like to
All
do is
right.
I like to make my shadows even softer.
Yeah.
0.15 is a 15% opacity is a very like standard value.
Right. And this seems pretty realistic, right? Now the last value is the spread radius. So if I again make it 0, then you'll be able to see that by default it's 0. So if I hover over it, then
So
the
it's
spread
exactly the
radius,
same
yeah,
dimensions as the box.
exactly. It's exactly the same dimension as the box. So when we give it a specific value, say 20 pixels, the spread, the basically the dimensions of the box shadow increases.
So since we have already talked about transform, let's do something cool just like very quickly.
Yeah,
So transform, translate. Let's do minus 20 pixel and 20 pixel.
yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. So let's just make it this 0.
Actually, how about we make the x and y offset 0 also, so that the transform is better visible?
Just a sec. So let's just try this. I'm going for something. Yeah, now you can see that like it basically expands out of its original position. So that's kind of an effect which you can go for. So that's what I
Exactly.
was going for. Let's go back to learning, and you guys can play later. But you
Right.
can do a lot of cool stuff like that.
Obviously. All right. So, right. The next thing is inside the news item, we have a few tags. The first one is a news title, which is a header tag. And the styling is basic. We've given it a font size of 1.5 rem and a font weight of 500, both of which we've discussed just now. The next thing is the news byline, which for which we've given it a font size of 0.75 rem and the color of hashtag 444. Now, I don't think we've talked about giving hex value. So, what this is basically an hex value, right? Now, you can give colors in four basic ways. The first one is obviously giving it a predefined color, say red or blue. You can directly define, you can directly give the value of red or blue. The second way is the second and third way actually is are the RGBA and the RGBA values, which we just now discussed. And the last way is the hex values, right? Now hex are supposed to be six, sorry, six integers ranging from 0 to 9 and then A to F. So if you might know about hexadecimal values, it goes there are 16 values going from 0 to 9 and then A to F, right? So 0, if we give the color to be 0, 6 times 0, right? Now this is supposed to be black, pitch black, right? And the highest value that you can give is 6 times F, which is white. So this is exactly like the RGB value. When you give a value of 000, it's black, and if you give a value of 255, 255, 255, it will be white. Yeah, exactly, Sarthak. So if the values are repeating themselves, we can basically cut them in half. And the browsers are smart enough to detect that we're referring to a hexadecimal value. So let me change this back to 444 again. Yeah, all right. So the next thing is the news time, which we'll be seeing posted at time now. And this has this exact same setting as the byline. Now, the next thing is actually another pseudo selector, which is called before. Now, you might notice that earlier when we used the hover pseudo selection, it had just one colon, but before has two colons, right? Now, what exactly is before? This is kind of a difficult thing to grasp, but it's also very important, right?
So
So,
yeah, just a clarification, just
yeah,
a very small clarification. General as a like rule of thumb and what the standard is, the single colon ones help you select an element of this type, whatever the selector is. Right. So you can modify the news time and you can say that you want to style the news time when it is hovered. So you add the single colon and hover. With the two colons, you actually doing something different completely, which is you're styling another component completely. You're not actually styling this component over here. So now let's move forward.
yeah, all right. So, just so you
So should I
might
show it
guess
and
what's,
inspect?
yeah, sure, that might also be better. So, let me explain till then also. You might guess what this before selector does. It basically adds some content and styling to your element before the element, right? Now, before pseudo selector takes a property called content, which is necessary to give, right? So if you might be using for any other stuff, you can just give it a blank content. Right now, you might be noticing that the time has a value of time now, and I've given it a content before of posted at. So it's actually showing the content on the web page before my HTML element. Now, similarly, there is another pseudo selector called after. And if instead of before I do it after, you might notice that the posted at will appear after the time now, right? So there isn't much here, but it is very important that you keep these few things in mind, that there needs to be a double colon, and you need to provide the content property always. And obviously you can give other styling to it as you like. If I want to give it a color of say purple, I can just go ahead
So
and give it a color of purple.
Sarthak is saying, can you explain once again?
Right. All right. So I just said that before is a pseudo selector, right? And by the name you can guess what it does. It basically adds some content to your element before the element. So in the example that we've shown in the HTML that we've given, Anand, can you go just go to the HTML?
Right.
Right. So here in the p tag, the value is given just time now and nothing else. But in the web page, you see that there is a posted at words also. So those two words are coming from this CSS select pseudo selector before. What I'm doing is giving the content of posted at before the HTML element, right? All right.
So it
So
might not make a lot of sense right now to like if you can just put it in there, why not put it in there? But it becomes very useful when you're doing JavaScript. So
exactly.
we'll see that in a bit. So let's just get this done quickly now. I think there's only a couple left.
Yeah, we're almost done. So the next thing is the new score, which we've just given it a color of some RGB value. This is about
So
something
that's how
green.
the so somebody asked that's how the icon is getting the RGB value
Yeah,
because it is
exactly.
inside the new score and yeah,
And
that's all.
then we've actually selected the icon to give it a margin right, a 1 rem, to keep it a bit spaced out from the actual score. And then I think you can ignore the weather bar for now because we haven't included it yet.
So it's supposed to be over here to the right of the articles,
Yeah.
but that's probably going to be a project for you guys. So let's remove the color from here and let's move on to JavaScript and let's get that done.
Yeah. All right. So before that, I just wanted to cover one more CSS property, since I think that will be the last one that we'll do. All
Position.
right. Yeah, exactly. The position of the header.
Yeah.
So right now what I'm going to do is there is only one article. So instead of one, I'm going to copy it and give it say like 5 or 6 more. Right.
Yeah.
And just save it. And when you reload the web page, you see that there is a scroll bar, and if you scroll down, the header goes up with the content. Now, in the exam, in the project that we showed, the header stayed exactly where it was. Now, to do that, there is a simple CSS property. So let me go to the CSS file and go to the header selector, where we will give it a position of sticky,
So
right?
just over here, so let's just discuss the four possible ones, and let's
Yeah,
not explain sticky very well. Like, so that's the one which is actually a bit difficult to properly grasp. So I
yeah,
don't want anybody to go back from this workshop and think that they've understood sticky, because sticky
exactly.
is like really, really difficult to properly understand. So we're gonna just show them how it's working over here, and then you're gonna want to like you're gonna have to learn it by yourself.
Right.
So first of all, just look at all the values. So we've already discussed absolute. There's relative, which we've also already used.
And by
Ishit, care
default,
to
all
explain
the,
fixed?
yeah, so just a minute. By default, all the elements have a position of static. So there's no difference in that. Now, the position fixed, if you choose, it does basically what it says. It fixes your element at a particular position. And wherever you scroll or wherever you go on the page, that element will always be fixed to that particular position.
So yeah, just a bit of clarification between this and absolute. In absolute, you can make this like absolute to the search, but like we made the icon absolute to the search bar. For fixed, it is always fixed to that position on your screen. You can't make it relative to anything else. So that's why sometimes use fix.
Yeah. And all right, so now comes the sticky value. Now,
So
yeah, so actually, let's just display the fixed value first,
all right, sure.
right? And if you can reload the web page,
So yeah.
yeah,
So let's
now
also give
you
it
might,
width 100% first.
yeah,
Just making it take the whole width. Yeah.
yeah, so you might see that it is fixed to the top, but it also disturbs all the other stylings. So before, the content of the web page was a bit below so that we could actually see the header and the content below it, but now that it's fixed, it doesn't care for any other content. It's just fixed on the top.
Yeah, so no other element knows that it's fixed over there. So it's acting independently in this sense.
Exactly.
So that's why the headline cannot interact with this. Now let's make it relative once, because so now it's back to like it's very close to static. There are a couple differences. You can look them up. They're not very important right now. And then let's discuss sticky. See, if I make this sticky, just look at what happens. Right now, you don't see any difference, but as soon as so actually, I don't think sticky will work right now. So let's just see if sticky works. Yeah, sticky does not work. Why is that, Ishit?
Is it because of the browser compatibility?
No, no, no. That okay. So I was asking.
Right, sorry. All right. Okay. So, yeah. So you might be wondering why sticky isn't working. So, as we discussed while we were giving the absolute value, right? So, you have to actually position your element after giving it the value. So, let me just go ahead and give it the top of 0. So, it will always be staked to the top.
So one thing that you can see now is that so yeah, now this is a good time to actually demonstrate this. The header is at a certain vertical margin from the top, but when I start scrolling, it goes just to the top, like 0 pixels from the top. Now, first of all, you can see sticky in action. As soon as the header starts to move below top of 0 from the viewport, so as soon as like say it comes at the it comes at the absolute value of top for the element, it starts to stick. Right. So first, before it was at top of some pixels, I guess. The computed top value would have been some pixels from the top. But as soon as it comes like exactly at the top, it starts to like stick to the web page. Now that is sticky. But what we also want to do is we want to remove this space, right? So let's do that really quickly because the body by default has some margin and padding and stuff. So we just want to remove all of that. I think it's only the padding, but I also like to remove whatever margin might be there. Depends
Yeah.
browser to browser. So now you can see that like it also moved a bit to the left and like it's sticking to everything now. So let's also add some padding to the header. So let's do 5 pixels and 10 pixels. 5 pixels vertically, 10 pixels horizontally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there is some spacing. So it's not sticking to the edges. So let's move forward, Ishit.
All right.
So,
So I think
so
we're
let's
done
not
with this.
explain sticky yeah, anymore. So you guys, so sticky has a lot more going over there. Just make sure that before like can we increase the value of top, will it give spacing during scrolling? So okay, so I'm not gonna do all of that right now. I know the answer, but you need to start like experimenting a bit with sticky because sticky is the odd one out. Every other position value is very easily explicable. Like we can explain it really easily, but sticky is not that easily explained. So just
Yeah.
keep experimenting and look up documentation with respect to how sticky works. Because sticky is also one of the most interesting ones. Now let's move forward to JavaScript issue.
Yeah. So let's just move the
So
script tag
yeah,
to another file.
yeah, exactly. So first of all, I'm just gonna copy all of this just as we did with the style tag, and I'm gonna move this to script.js. So we had style.css for the style. So sorry for that. Style.css for the style, and we have script.js for the JavaScript. So I just copied whatever we had over there, and just the console output remains the same.
Right. Currently, you won't be seeing any console.
Yeah, there should be some hello world, and fine. So hello world, uh,
I think you didn't
and
reload the page.
possibly just check.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, yes, right. Because we haven't included the script tag.
Yeah.
Sorry. So let's also import the script now. So script src is going to be script.js. So over there we use href. Over here we use src. Type is equal to application JavaScript.
Right.
So we're going to leave that empty because we have an src. So we're not going to put anything in between there. So now this should actually console log something out. Yeah. All right, so let's move forward with the JavaScript. So everybody remember what this code like? Everybody remember the explanation of this code, right? So there were a couple of people who had not done any coding before. Are you guys comfortable with what's in script.js right now? So if anybody is not comfortable, just put it in the chat once. Okay, we'll move forward for now. You can tell us when you like if you have any issues. So
Yeah.
how about we remove all of this now, Ishit?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's start from scratch. So what do we want to do? So let's also remove all of the extra elements from over here. Kind of a clean slate.
All right. So I think first thing we can do is introduce the onClick function because that's right there and they might be
Yeah.
wondering what it was.
So this is also not the most basic implementation of the onClick because we're calling a function which we're getting from a function. So
Yeah.
this will also be a bit confusing. This is so we can actually make different functions for all of these.
All right. So
let's remove
let's just get how to work with functions in JavaScript first.
right. So let's discuss functions and then onClick. So let's make a very basic function, Ishit.
Yeah. So let's say an addition of two numbers.
So yeah, Ishit will code and I can just explain what a function is till then. So for those like who have done coding, you will understand what a function or a method is. For those who haven't, a function is basically a block of code or like a few lines of code coupled together, which give you an output for any or no input. So over here we have A and B, the parameters or the input, and we're saying we're returning A plus B. So this function will take in A and B and give us A plus B. So that is the most basic function we could make with some parameters. Now let's save this. I hope the people who are doing this for the first time are comfortable. So we console.logged out first 5 and then 5. And then 5 and then 10. So that's
All
just
right, sorry.
console.logout. Now we'll call the functions. So now what we're doing is, so we're consoling dot we console dot logging out something, but we're uh, printing like logging out what the return of the addition function is giving us. So for 5 and 5, it should give us 5 plus 5. For 5 and 10, it should give us 5 plus 10. So let's reload. And now you can see that addition 5 comma 5, A comma B. So A is equal to 5 and B is equal to 5 is giving us 5 plus 5. So 5 comma 10 will give us A is equal to 5, B is equal to 10, 5 plus 10. So 5 and 15. So very basic introduction to functions. And now what we'll actually do is we can put this inside of a function as well. So let's make this clicker. So we'll name this function clicker.
Yeah.
And let's put one of these consoles in there. So now I have a function with no inputs. So I can call this without any inputs. And what it is doing is it is logging out the return a value of addition function with the inputs 5 comma 10. So it should log out 15 every time. So now when I save this and when I go to index.html back, you can see how the on click is going to work. Over here, I'm going to write clicker. And yeah, since you do not need an input for this function, I'm just going to call it over here. So in onClick, you can write any and all valid JavaScript over here. So calling the function is valid JavaScript and just saving this. So yeah, and then reloading it over here. Now when I click the menu link, the top menu link, it should console out 15, as you can see. So every time I click this, so you can see the number adding up over here. So this is the number of times 15 is being logged out. So if I just make it a little bit clearer, if I console out something else as well, so this is going to be 125 plus 120 and 5 plus 10 over there. And now if I click top stories, it's console.logging out first 15 and then 125, which is 5 plus 120. And then again. So as many times I do it, it just logs it out again and again. Right, so that's how the on-click thing works. We just call a function when you click on one of these buttons. Anything else we have to cover over here, Ishit?
No, I think that's fine.
So that's the functions.
Yeah. So next, I think we can do how to actually select the elements in JavaScript.
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
go ahead with that.
Yeah. So all of you might be knowing that our articles and the heading of the article section is going to be dynamic, right? So how to do that? Now you can select your HTML elements in your JavaScript by just assigning them to a variable. Like I'll do let heading equals to, now to select an HTML element, what you have to do
So
is select
this
the
is a special
document
constant called document.
dot.
So this document is going to be available on every web page.
Right. So Anand, actually, can you just
Yeah, I'll just
type the
show
dot
the
here?
autocomplete. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So there are 5 different ways you can select an HTML element. Sorry, 4. Right. So the first is the get element by ID. Right. Now this will directly select your element if you provide the ID name of your element. Next is all there is also one that says get element by class. Right. Right. Get element by class name. So in that, instead of the ID, you would just provide the name of your class. Now, the most common two are document dot query selector and document
And
dot
this is
query
again a new
selector
addition.
all.
Yeah, so this is again a new addition to HTML5 and JavaScript, ECMAScript, which we call the standard. So JavaScript, and this wasn't there before, which made our lives a lot worse at the time. But now Ishit can just show you the magic over here.
Right. So actually, right. If Anand, can you go back to the HTML?
Right. So we
Right.
want
So
the
I'm just going to select the menu link class name first to show how the query selector and query selector all works. Right. So right now I'm just using the query selector argument function, sorry, and giving it the class name of menu item. Now, exactly like CSS, we give the class name by preceding it by a dot, right? Then I just give it the name menu item, and just to show what got selected, I'm going to console this out.
so let's save this and reload over here. It says null.
Is the spelling correct?
Menu link. It's
Right.
menu link.
Menu link. Sorry.
So now if I reload, you can see that we got the first one. If I
Right. So
hover over
it
it shows the first one.
Right. So it just returns you the exact HTML element. Now,
First one.
to
Yeah.
right, the first one, because I just use query selector. Now, the important thing here is you can also use the query selector all function to select the whole all the elements which have this particular class. Right.
So this
So
gives you a list, a node list in particular, and all three elements are available over here.
right. So now what we're going to do is select the element which has the value of headlines and change it according to the on-click function that we do on every single menu link. So I'm going to make a function for that, say function clicker only.
So Ishit, I guess we're going to be doing the network calls tomorrow itself, not today.
Yeah, I
Not
think
enough
that would be
time. Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just changing the headline should be all right for now.
Yeah. So we're doing basic DOM manipulation.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
So
go
I'm
ahead.
going to make a function clicker and I'm going to get an argument in it to know what the heading should be. All right. Can we keep the sessions longer? We can, but actually the problem is, you see, it has to start from 8 because
So
many of you guys have classes till 7, and until 9 it becomes the time for dinner and you're obviously at your homes. So I don't know if all of you might be comfortable with that.
so if somebody has a problem, then you can say. But Ishit, can tomorrow can we keep it from 7 to 9 maybe?
Yeah, if everyone agrees to that, we can obviously keep it from 7 to 9.
Matwell, you'll have an assignment tomorrow. So after the workshop ends, we'll tell you exactly what you can add to, like, just add to what you learned. So it's not gonna take like you're not gonna have to learn anything more for to be able to do those assignments, but you're just gonna be implementing what you learn over here.
Yeah,
So you'll have an assignment after tomorrow. Uh, it's up to you guys. So we're not gonna be grading the assignments or anything. We are gonna be looking them over for the projects and stuff, so that we know who's picking up well and like help you guys as well.
exactly.
Can you send us this code so we can play around with the code ourselves? Yes, we will send you the code. We all the
All
code
right,
is uploaded
so
on GitHub.
someone has an AD lab tomorrow from 5 to 7. So if you want, we can start from 7:30, or if you have a problem with that, we'll actually keep it
So
from 7
they're
to
saying
9.
we can start from 7:30.
Yeah, okay, sure. So we'll start at 7:30, and I guess we can keep the maximum time till 9 and see if we get over quickly or it takes more time.
Right, right. Let's
Right.
just
So
make that
yeah.
clicker.
So what I'm going to do is now select that heading element.
So
Again,
that's in the
heading.
news list. The H2 right inside of the news list. That's the one we want.
Right. Actually, we haven't given.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
we can use
So
the CSS selector, right? So
right.
news list, inside of that the
Right.
H2.
So exactly like CSS, you can just select the H2. And now what we're going to do is every node, every HTML element that you, yeah, all right. So
Yeah, you
every
can go forward. I'll help him.
all right, all right. So every HTML element that you select will have a few functions of its own, right? So one of the most important is called, sorry, it's heading. Anand, actually, I think you should place a period
Why?
there to show what the autocomplete shows.
Oh, okay, just a sec. So what are we doing? So heading dot. I don't think it's going to show anything because it hasn't computed what the value will be.
Right, sorry. All right, so let me just tell you. So what we're going to do is select a function or basically a value
Usually
which is
in a
called,
text.
yeah, inner text. Now it says exactly what it does. It selects the inner text of the HTML element, which is right now headlines. All right, so I'm going to change this to whatever I pass in the heading text. I just, I'm going
So
to
yeah, the
rename
heading.
the
Okay.
argument, and yeah, that's exactly it. And now you can come
So
back to the index.html to call those functions.
so it's clicker, right? It's still clicker.
Yeah.
So
So
let's call this
now,
top
yeah,
stories. This is gonna be news stories.
yeah. And the last one is going to be
Uh,
best stories.
wait, this did not. Wait, is that right? Okay, so I'm gonna
You
have to
have to
use
use,
different ones.
yeah, right. So what happens is you can't use double quotes inside a double quotes, right? So you have to use a single quote inside a double quote or the vice versa, so it doesn't give you any error.
So this is gonna be trending stories. So just very quickly, let's see what happens. So by default, it's headlines. Clicking on news stories changes it to news stories. Again, top stories changes it to top stories. Best stories. Okay, so sorry, I put trending over there. This has to be best.
Yeah.
So best stories changes it to best stories.
Right.
So yeah, that is all for the DOM manipulation. So the DOM is the document object model. So homework for today can be look up what the DOM is, like what it basically is. So what we just did was DOM manipulation. And after like tomorrow, we're gonna start with doing the network requests. So we're gonna get data from some other website. In this case, the Hacker News website. So yeah, we do not have the Hacker News website open. We're going to use something called an API from that website, and we're going to show the articles dynamically, like actual articles are not just text we put in HTML.
Yeah.
So, Ishit, let's just conclude what and like recap what all we did.
Right. So yeah, you can see the web page there. So continuing from tomorrow, all we did was added some HTML to add the content to our web page, which was the aside section, which included the three menu links, which are top stories, news stories, and best stories. And then there was the news list division, which included the heading and the stories container, which contained an anchor tag to contain our news article, right? Then we added the styling for each of the elements, and most of them were discussed earlier only. Only a few were new, which included the position sticky, and then there was box shadow, there was different
Transition.
values that you can give to color, then there was the pseudo elements hover and before, right? And
The
then there was also,
transitions after.
yeah, yeah, pseudo elements hover before and after. Then we talked about transition. Transitions actually really cool, and you might want to use it in literally everything, but just be sure not to overuse it, right?
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
I
go
think
ahead.
that's it for this segment. We basically a lot of time we took just to show you guys the structure. That's why we had like we added all the HTML and CSS from before and just started commented out so that we don't keep writing the HTML and CSS because there was not much to learn from that. The JavaScript was new. We learned about functions and we discussed the about the with the parameters and printed some stuff out. Tomorrow we're actually going to take a huge leap, so there might be a little less hand holding tomorrow. Like we might go a bit faster. So just like come with a clear mind tomorrow, basically, because there might be a
Yeah,
lot to learn
because
tomorrow, and it's a 1.5 hour session.
tomorrow, yeah, because tomorrow I don't think we'll be spending any time in the style.css file or the index.html file. Maybe a bit just to call the functions. Almost all the time will be spent in this JavaScript and how to dynamically add the articles.
So yeah, that's it for this session. All the code. So somebody asked if you could share the code. All the code is available on GitHub. I shared the link for that. We shared the link for that like initially after the first session. We'll reshare the
Yeah.
link for that on the WhatsApp group, so you can have a look at all the code from over there.
Right. Also, like we've been sharing the YouTube link also, and if you go in the description of that, we have the GitHub link there also.
That's great. That's great. So yeah, that's it for this session, I guess, guys. And
Yeah.
let's just
So
complete this project tomorrow.
yeah. So I'll stop the recording now, and obviously, if you have any doubts, you can stay for 5 minutes, and we'll clear anything.
So Ishit, I actually have to go urgently. So I'll see you
Yeah.
guys tomorrow then.
Yeah. Obviously.
Bye bye, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.